In this video, you will be introduced to a valuable engineering tool called a decision matrix. As you will see, decision matrices are used throughout the MyStar curriculum as a way for students to use a systematic, evidence-based approach to select the best solution for any given problem. Many times in work and in life, we are faced with problems and must decide on a solution. Often there are several solutions that would solve our problem, and we have to decide which of the options is best. For example, if I am moving to a new city, there are often several places that I could make my new home, ranging from renting an apartment to buying a new house. The challenge we all face is how to organize our thinking so that we can make the best decision based on the information or evidence we have available. In these situations, a decision matrix can be helpful. As an example, we will use a decision matrix to choose which is the best house to buy. Let's say there are many potential houses on the market we could purchase. Each of the houses is a potential solution. We may begin the selection process by listing the certain aspects of our decision that are must-have variables. For this example, the house we buy must be within a certain number of miles from work. It has to cost less than a certain amount of money, and it has to have a certain amount of bedrooms. These must-have variables are constraints. These constraints immediately restrict the number of potential houses that we could possibly purchase. If the house does not meet the constraints, then it is not a possible solution and can be removed from the list. In this example, there are 3 houses that meet our constraints, and so we are left with only 3 possible solutions. We should consider each of these houses as a particular decision option, A, B, and C. Now we can determine and list the desirable traits that we would like our new house to have. We may want our house to be a new house. Therefore, we can list age as a trait. Or, does the house need any extra work? Does it have a nice kitchen? So on and so forth. These desirable traits are criteria. Criteria can be scored on a rating scale and used to systematically compare the 3 options. Next, we develop a defined scoring system for each of these criteria, which includes a target and a set of rating values. The highest scores are given to the most desirable traits. You may notice that a criteria rating of 0 is possible. This is a main difference between constraints and criteria. A solution may score a 0 for a particular criteria and still be a viable option, whereas if a constraint is not met, then it cannot be a possible solution. Now we can use our system to rate each of the 3 options. We know that house A is 12 years old and therefore should be given a rating value of 5. House B is 45 years old, a rating of 3. And house C is only 2 years old, a rating of 9. At this point, we can create our decision matrix and rate the age criteria for each option. We can repeat this process for each of our criteria. Finally, we sum up the scores given for each of these options. The highest total score can be used to make a decision. Here, option C is the best solution. At this point, it is always good to pause and critically reflect on the decision and the process. Some questions to ask are, is this really the best solution? Are the constraints and criteria clearly defined? Are all of these criteria equally important to us? Maybe at this point we decided that a nice kitchen is twice as important to us as the other criteria. We can assign a weight to this particular criteria and update the rating value and the total scores. Now, when we add up the scores, house A is the best option. So, in this way, the decision matrix allows us to evaluate our own thought process and demonstrate how we have come to a certain decision. As you have seen, the decision matrix is an important tool because it allows us to concretely specify the elements of the decision process, identify important assumptions and variables that are involved in a particular decision, quantify our understanding of these variables and assumptions where possible, and to make the decision process systematic, transparent, and understandable to those around us who may be affected by or participating in the decision.